clerk's office decided to share that little IPF, that little number given to Arua City, between the 3,877 number given between IF division and the central division. Meaning, because now this was central division population, I think in his wisdom, which he did not share with us, he gave a slot of 1,000 something for Ivu, 2,000 for central division, which now cheated Ivu and cheated central division. That means the entire city was grossly affected, both central division and Ivu division. Yet now, in the process of doing this, as leaders, as legislators of this city, we were always being disturbed. But the borders were calling us bartenders, cobblers, food vendors. People were calling us as leaders. We have not, our names have not come. We have not received this money. So in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is this Nabanja curse, the 100,000 missed out Arua City in a very gross way. Now we thought, yes, this has happened. We have continued to push. Even the report was presented to PAC. After paying this money to the few beneficiaries, of course, the report went to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister presented it on the floor on floor of Parliament, and the Speaker immediately picked this report as it was, gave it to PAC. PAC Central and PAC Local Government to go and scrutinize and find out whether these are the right beneficiaries, whether the money reached the people, whether the amount that was sent reached people. So now there was not terms of reference given to PAC to come and check this report, which was presented by Prime Minister on the floor of Parliament. So since me and the Honorable Feta belong to that committee, we had the chance of now being people to look through this report. And of course, we had interest. Our city being left out from benefiting from this curse, we had interest as leaders of this city. And of course, also being in that committee, it gave us deliveries, it gave us advantage to check what exactly happened. So now, when the committee was visiting cities and municipalities, of course, in West Nile, they picked Arua City to scrutinize the report. The committee came here, we were in that meeting that day. Of course, while doing this, a lot of anomalies were unveiled. The office of RDC raised concerns that they were not involved in identifying the beneficiaries. BISO's office was not involved. As politicians, we were not involved. It was the office of town clerk that handled this exercise. Now, we guided, the PAC guided that town clerk should have involved these stakeholders. So now, we did not that day we had not scrutinized the report very well when PAC came here, but it came prominently in that meeting that this work was done by the office of town clerk. We didn't dig deeper. We tried to find out how it went and who did the registration, who were the data entrance, and when we discovered that, we said, fine. Now, the same PAC went and scrutinized the reports further, checked names by names using the name numbers on the IDs, using the phone numbers, now investigating deeper.
So you use other
making calls to these beneficiaries. So in the course of this, the committee discovered so many anomalies in Gulu City, in Arua City, in Kitigum, in so many of these cities. They report that now made us to have these people recalled. You see, PAC came to Arua, found a few challenges. The concerns, the RCC's office not being involved, so many stakeholders not being involved. We went back and went deeper, now discovered, and the leadership of Arua City was called back to Kampala. That was now when you saw us, showing our true colors, because we could not now condone that level of corruption. We could not condone that level of dishonesty, because how can you say a reverend father is a cobbler? You can't do that. How do you begin to register your own yourselves within, you are a data entrant, you are not a food vendor, you are not a cobbler, you are not a boda. Arua is known to have 2 female riders, 2 female boda. How can you say we have 600 female boda in Arua city when everybody knows and nobody is seeing women riding all over the city here on boda? So how dare you do that? So as genuine leaders, we had to come out and ask our town clerk, what were you doing? How did you do it? Why did you do what you did? So now these findings actually exposed the level of corruption that has been eating this government, the level of corruption that has been in local government, which we in this 11th parliament, which we in PAC are not going to tolerate. So that is what now came out. But I want to really say, I am sorry. I am sorry for those young girls and boys who were used as volunteers. First of all, we have the city officials who are on payroll, government payroll. Why were these people not used for this exercise? Why use volunteers? And why so many volunteers in the city? First of all, that explains that the human resource aspect in the city is wanting. So we need to dig deeper. What is happening in our city? Do we have the personnel that we need to run this city? Why so many volunteers? Now, these innocent girls and boys went there. I wish, the government sent facilitation money. Arua City was sent 8 million. If in the wisdom of the town clerk and the leadership who were doing this thing without involving other people, got that 8 million, gave it to these volunteers. Now that they are helping the town clerk's office to enter the data that, okay, we have 8 million here. Out of this 8 million, we are using this much for the volunteers who are doing this. We are sending this for the town agents who are collecting the data. There was a lot of contradiction. First of all, these guys are saying town agents went to the field to collect data on the cobblers, on the bodas. Then later on, they told us they were using secondary data, which was there. So now you wonder which one is which. So now, facilitation funds that came ahead.
Yes.
Before this 100,000 came in, there was 8 million in city's account, Arua city account, to facilitate. So if town clerk had come out and said, my technical officers, my politicians, there's facilitation money here of 8 million. What do we do? How much do we give these volunteers who are helping us? Or there's money there, let's first finish this work. Each person is going to get this. You promise people. People know that we have something in granary. Now, without letting people know, even us, the members of parliament, even the office of RDC, that was not disclosed to us. That 8 million facilitation. So now, I think, in my own assessment, these volunteers didn't know that there was something for them. And in their wisdom, they thought, why don't I push my name in? If it is done without the knowledge of the leadership, if it is done without the knowledge of town clerk, if it is done without the knowledge of the mayors, because these were not in the category. And when we squeezed them, they said they were tempted. Yeah, temptations can come. But of course, now if you know that you are doing some serious work for somebody and you are not being appreciated, you can help yourself. So these guys maybe in their wisdom thought they could help themselves. Why I'm reasoning like that, I don't want to over blame them. Okay. What we wanted to do as a committee was to find out whether the terms of reference was applied, whether there was theft, whether money went to the right beneficiaries. But now it made us to unveil, it made us to discover so many things. In my own wisdom, these guys post in their names, if without the knowledge of the town clerk, just because they were not told that this will be your benefit, this will be your sweat. So they had to now use that means, which is wrong, of course, which we condemn, which I think shouldn't happen again. So this is now what happened. Of course, as members of PAC, we had to do our work objectively transparently and honestly to save this country. Okay. That's why you saw us, scaring the people the way we did. Okay. And I want to thank my brother Feta. Feta arrived in the meeting when we had gone halfway. And he came as if he was there before, with the strong words that I condemn this, and these people must be brought to book, okay. As if we had exchanged ideas or said before, because what these people did was with impunity. Right. We cannot condone corruption in this country, which is, we are not going to accept that. Right. So that is what happened, and we are going to table our report to the Parliament, and we will wait for Parliament's decision.
All right, thank you very much. Let me have Honorable Feta Geoffrey on this. This is not the first time that we have been hearing about Arua City, Arua Municipality former, and also Arua district leaders being involved in corruption scandals. What should be done to ensure that we get rid of this vice called corruption in this city that we are in? And it has just started. But now, the negativity we are getting about the city is now getting too much. What should be done? Because more government programs are going to come.
Thank you very much. What should be done is in writing. It's not, we're not going to look for what to be done. Okay. Because we have laws in place. Okay. Those laws are there to ensure that people do not abuse their offices, to ensure that people do not misappropriate government funds, people do not embezzle funds. But that said, first of all, the process and the intention of this fund was a good intention. It was the government's decision to bail out the over-constrained people by the lockdown. The categories they identified, I think they only missed the religious leaders. The rest of it were appropriate. 100,000 in our settings here, if you don't have a so huge village, family, it can take you some time. Yeah. Now this money would have helped the intended people very well. Yes, we agree the number allocated to Arua City was not enough. The 3,877 should not have been that, because in 2014, Arua municipality had 10,202 households, and the minister, when they came here, told us that they were using 38% of the
total population,
total household, yes, as of 2014 census. So when you look at the 3,877, this is 38% of 10,202. So this allocation was meant for Arua Central, not for Arua City. Okay. Now, by that time, 2014, I had a household population of 46,582. When you do 38% of this, it gives you about 17,560. When you add on to the household for Central, you should have had 21,600 something for our city.
Beneficiaries of COVID relief fund. Okay.
So when we saw this not coming, I received a letter, and that letter said that the town clerks would collect this data under the supervision of the RDCs and the area members of Parliament. My area being Aivu Division East, I called my town clerk to find out the progress and find out what they are doing. And he told me the challenge they have is the allocation is inadequate. And what has been allocated out of what is now for Arua City is 1,400. So they, together with the town agents and CDOs, were collecting this data. Yes, we are political leaders. Ours is to supervise. We don't go and collect the data. And we expect the technical staffs by the virtue of their office, they hold that office in public trust. So we expect them to practice honesty, to practice integrity, and to do the right thing. So we allowed them to collect the data without close supervision. Now, I kept calling him, he kept briefing me of what they are doing. And I knew they were doing the right thing. So when he told me their challenge was their location is too small and therefore there are many people left out, I took up the matter. I followed with the Honorable Kokoliriko, the Minister of State for Primary Education, who came here representing the cabinet. When I continued to follow with the heart and I was not getting the feedback, I was now forced to write to UBOS to find out why IV was not considered, and yet it has scientifically been proved that this allocation was only according to the household data of our center. So UBOS replied my letter and gave me these actual figures I've given you. He gave me the household statistics of IV and Central in 2014, the projected household data of Central Division and IV Division as of today. So when I looked at this, I used this to write to the minister in charge, that is the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development. I copied the Prime Minister, I copied the Speaker, I copied the Government Chief Whip, and I expected immediate feedback. When they did not give us a feedback, when the division mayor of IV and the city mayor of Arua City came to Kampala, I took them to the minister's office. They met the minister, and the last time I went to the minister told us they were waiting for directive properly, and volunteers were recruited because the amount of work was much. What were the terms of reference of engaging the volunteers? You engage them to be paid how much per day? Did you pay them actually? If you paid them, then they went ahead to begin to pay themselves extra money from the COVID relief fund. How did you engage them? Who authorized you to engage them?
Could we say that maybe another terms of reference was given to the town clerks or the city clerks in engaging the volunteers without you members of parliament knowing?
And then that should be made public, because the office they hold is a public office. There is nothing secret in that office. Whatever they do there should be known by the public.
Moderator, just to add on what Honorable Fete is saying, this process should have been open to everybody. The names should have been displayed for public viewing, which they didn't do.